Welcome everyone to the Dialogues on Diversity, Black Students Matter, Finding Our Way in the Revolution. My name is Michelle Solis, and I serve as the Associate Vice President for Student Success and Inclusion here at the University of Toledo. I'm excited to introduce our moderator, who is Amir Moore. Amir is a graduate assistant in the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. He is studying business, working on his Master's of Business. Amir?
Thank you so much, Dr. Solis. How are you doing? How are you doing today? My name is Amir Moore. As Dr. Solis said, I am a UT Toledo graduate student in the MBA program and also graduate assistant to the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. I will be moderating this tonight's event. The University of Toledo is continuing its Dialogues on Diversity series with a conversation organized and hosted by students. The virtual town hall is titled Black Students Matter, Finding Our Way in the Revolution. Since students are back on campus and settled in for the fall, we thought it was important to provide students a platform for their voices to be heard. This conversation will provide student leaders an opportunity to share their thoughts on Black Lives Matter movement, racial equity, and on our society and in our campus. This is the seventh virtual series of Dialogues on Diversity since George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis by police officers, sparking violence and protests all around the country. Before we begin, I want to take a brief moment of silence for the countless lives lost through police brutality, names including Eric Gardner, George Floyd, Sandra Bland, Tamir Rice, Michael Brown, and especially Breonna Taylor and countless others. So we can have a moment of silence. Thank you so much. Before we begin, I would like to read the Community of Care statement. As a participant in this roundtable, we ask you to be respectful of your peers' thoughts and opinions. The intent of this session is not to be confrontational or argumentative with one another, but to be in a space where UT Toledo community members can be their authentic selves and share their thoughts and feelings within a civil manner. You can reflect back to the statement if we do have any issues going forward. If you do have any questions for the panelists, please put it in the chat section. You will not be able to read other participants' questions or answers, and we will make sure we answer them accordingly. As we go on, I want to introduce our amazing leaders and our panelists. Our first one will be Talani Black. Talani Black, if you could say your name, your organization, and your year, and your also your career goals, that would be amazing. She is the president of 4AW, Association for Advancement of African American Women. Talani.
Good evening. Thank you, Amir. My name is Talani Black, president of the Association for the Advancement of African American Women, as well as the Alpha Lambda chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I am a social work major, political science minor. My hopes and aspirations are to go into policy. I'm a policy analyst one day. Thank you.
And through your work with policy and what you're seeing in the world, tell us, how are you feeling?
Honestly, I'm not pleased, but we do have some amazing people in Congress right now that are working their hardest to try to advocate for those who cannot advocate for themselves right now. So as of right now, our hope is in them. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Talani. We definitely need Congress members in DC to advocate for our rights, and especially to make sure our voices are heard. So thank you so much. Our next panelist is Anthony Jennings. If you can come to the stage and tell us about your name, your organization, your year, and your career goals.
How you guys doing? I apologize. I'm heading back home. I'm in Cincinnati right now. But yeah, my name is Anthony. I'm a senior now. I'm a nursing major. I represent the board of trustees as a student trustee. Is all that you guys needed to know, or anything else?
Yes, and as a student trustee, this is an important role. You allow the most highest leadership at the university to let the students' voices be heard. How are you feeling? I know it's been a rough summer. You are in your junior year. How are you feeling?
To be honest, I'm not all the way pleased. By the way, like things were like, because like at the time there wasn't like a message from the university as a whole, but there were messages from like certain colleges, like the College of Business or the College of Nursing. I just wish that as a whole, like the university would have came up with something to like present, came up with something to like acknowledge the things that were going on with social injustice and everything.
Yes, I agree. That's why this conversation we're having tonight is so important. Thank you so much, Anthony. The next person I'm gonna bring to the stage is Daniel Gober. You just provide your name, your year, your career aspirations. Daniel, you're doing amazing things in the community. Originally from my own hometown, Dayton, Ohio. So I'll bring Daniel to the stage.
Shout out Dayton, Ohio. My name's Daniel Gober. I'm a senior here at UT. Electrical engineering major. I aspire to go to the Air Force one day so that I can be a pilot. If I could be quite honest with everybody on this call, I'm very dissatisfied with everything that's going on. I understand that it takes time to change, but this is one of the first times that my voice has been able to be heard in regards to all the issues that are going on. And I do feel like I have at least a few solutions that I and the organization that I represent, which is Student African American Brotherhood, will be glad to see happen on this.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Daniel is the president of the Student African American Brotherhood SOL. As a lot of students voiced, we need a platform to be heard, and hopefully we're not going to change police brutality or stop it tonight, but we are going to allow students to have their voice heard and at least step in the right direction. So thank you so much, Daniel.
Thank you.
The next person we will bring to the stage is Dominique Grace. Dominga, she is doing amazing things in the community. Toledo Together, which is nine amazing young women that have been doing tireless work throughout the Toledo community and further. So I'm gonna bring Dominga to the stage just to talk a little bit about herself. I think Dominga is still logging on, so I'm going to go to Nadia. Nadia, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Nadia Shelton. I'm the president of the National Panhellenic Council at the University of Toledo. Also president of a new organization called Cozy Chats, which spreads awareness of kidney disease. I'm a senior and my major is communication, focus in public relations. My minor is peace studies. So going off of that, like, peace studies being my minor is because of just all the ways that we could be like providing solutions to the world in a nonviolent. And so of course it hurts to see like so many of my like people killed like senselessly. And I mean, you want that support from your university, like that we're spending all our money to go to school years. So it's like they should be supporting us in all that. So definitely feel some, I feel disappointed. So
yes, I'm disappointed. I'm hurt just from everything going on in the world, and I'm finding ways to try to do my part to be civilly engaged. And also through the pandemic, you have school, you have civil unrest. It's hard to be a young Black person in today's society. So I totally agree. And for the people, the audience that doesn't know what NPHC is, can you tell us a little bit about the organization?
okay, yeah. So NPHC is the like historically Black fraternities and sororities. We actually have all 9 on campus. right now, like we have all 9, but one of them is like recruiting right now. So like you might not see them, but we have all 9, and that's a really big deal to have all 9 organizations on this because some schools don't. So yeah, we're the Greek. We were like started to handle issues like this to have a place for like ourselves and stuff. So that's what.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I know the attendees appreciate hearing what NPHC does and just the impact they had over the countless number of years. We're going to go into our discussion. So Nadia, we can start with you. And you kind of talk through it. How has your organization already, or how do you plan to implement civil engagement towards social justice on campus and in the world?
So over the summer, well, back in May when everything happened with George Floyd, we wrote a statement, like just saying our concerns with everything, you know, in solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement, and just saying our concerns. Like we're going to a school where like we're the minority at school, so it's like that's basically what our letter was, just saying how we stand with everybody and we would like to have that support at school. So that we released that, and then we have been planning a demonstration. We don't really know what it's going to be yet because like the committee just was formed. So our committee is working on planning a demonstration regarding Black Lives Matter, police brutality, and like ways that like the university do better. So everything's in the works right now, and it's up to committees, you know, pull it through.
And as a counter, I have to ask, it's been discussion of, I want to be civically engaged. Do I send money in? Do I post on social media? What are different ways do you think that people can stay engaged in different, I guess, in various acts?
Yeah, so me personally, over the summer, I signed a lot of petitions. There are petitions going around. The George Floyd and Breonna Taylor petitions were like the biggest petitions that Change.org has ever seen before. So I spread awareness like on Twitter, like I just retweet. I literally only retweet like stuff that has to do with the current social climate in our country. That's the only thing you'll really catch. That's really how you can get involved, like use your platform, whatever that may be. I also like donated some money to like get like lunches for kids in like Pennsylvania, I believe, and that's an opportunity I found out about through social media. So it's like many ways that you can be involved even if you can't like physically be there.
Yes, I totally agree. A retweet just to spread the awareness is super important. So I'm gonna throw the question to Daniel. What's something that Saab has been doing, and what's some ways that you feel like people can support other than just posting or protesting, just to give them various outlets to express what they're feeling?
Well, first and foremost, I think directly, Saab, we have come together and kind of shared our feelings amongst each other to say that we think it's more or less time for change and action and for tangible things to take place rather than to, we need everything as far as to politicize our message on social media. We need protests, nonviolent protests, I would like to add. We need those things, but Saab, we're more interested in seeing the tangible things on this campus take place.
Yes.
I have a list of those things that Student African American Brotherhood we would like to see take place. I'm not sure if you're ready for those list of things, but I have that compiled for you.
Yes, you can list. You can list them all. Yes.
So after talking with my members, I first wanted to see did any of them have any negative encounters with UT police, and I was glad to hear that none of them really did. That makes me happy because that shows that UT is doing something with diversity training, but I would like to see that updated on a yearly basis, or or even a 6-month basis. Not just something that you get once you're a police officer and you're hired in. It should be something that you're required to do every year, things of that nature, and it should be updated, and it should be brought across the board of people who would be most affected by this policing. That's one topic that I think we could take change into. Also, I think everybody knows that we have an interim president right now.
Yes.
We're not sure if he's even, I'm not sure if he's on this call or not, but me personally, I think that that's a big deal. I think that this topic should be important to him. This topic should be important to our provost. This topic should be important to our board members. They should be on this call right now. We should know that they care and that they want to hear our voices and that they want to hear our solutions. With that being said, I don't know how far UT is along in the process of looking for hiring a new president, but as far as one of the actionable items that they should be required when in the hiring process should be a strategic plan on how to increase the retention of Black students on this campus, because they're the least majority on this campus. We're already a minority in America. We're of course going to be a minority on the PWI. Retention should be the last thing you should have to worry about with Black students. There should be a multitude of other things that you should have to worry about when dealing with higher education.
Yes, I completely agree. The university that's why this platform is so important. The university does need to address these important issues that you discussed. And we are going to bring it to them so our voices are heard and we can have some changes. We as Black students, we go through so much that doesn't even, people are not even aware of. It's just not going to school, getting good grades. We're dealing with racial equity. We're dealing with being away from home. We're dealing with racism and all these different elements. So I completely agree. And we do need to push the needle, and kind of to counteract from what you said, Anthony is in a great position for our voices to be heard on a large scale. So Anthony, can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing on the student trustee side, and also how can students push the needle to try to affect change, to implement change?
So, thanks for the question. At least on the student trustee side, we haven't really talked much about diversity yet, or any social justice things yet. But in the case that does bring it up, I'll definitely, share my opinion on it if I have to. But I think that definitely, like going back to your second question, pushing the needle will definitely be when we need to be, and having support from like Daniel said, like the board members as well. So I think that definitely like being there and showing up in numbers as well, because there's strength in numbers, and once they hear more and more people about it and more people attending these meetings, like at least in the public section of the meetings, I think that definitely.
Yes, and I totally agree. And I don't know if you said it before. Can you repeat how students or people of color can practice, whether it's protest or retweeting? How can students engage be able to be civilly engaged? I think we lost Anthony. So we're gonna go to Talani. Can you tell us how your organization is implementing civil engagement towards social justice, and what can students do to be civically engaged?
One thing that 4AW is implementing this year is kind of a sister circle, or a circle for all students. Obviously, right now, with everything going on, tensions are high. We cannot all meet up the way we want to. So we just want to create a safe space for them over Zoom to get out those frustrations, Yeah, so that's most definitely something that we plan on implementing. We've also been in contact with other Black student leaders across the campus, kind of talking about how we want to go about solving this issue, or at least presenting the issue to the president of the university, to the provost. You know, everyone kind of expects to hear, or we're looking forward to hear from David Young, Dr. Solis, Sammy Span, but you know, it's those people higher, you know, that we want to hear from. You know, I didn't even hear from the dean of my college. So when push comes to shove, when they say, you know, they say these statements, you know, in the mission statement, you know, everyone's here for you, but then it's kind of a slap in the face, you know, especially not hearing from the dean of your school or the president of your school. If this is, we're all supposed to be together. This is, we're all supposed to be in a safe space, and there's, you know, it's most definitely a slap in the face for at least me. I can't speak on behalf of everyone, but I can speak on behalf of myself. Yeah.
And thank you so much. I think that kind of reflects what Daniel said. As students, especially Black students, we don't just want to hear from Mr. Young or the VP of different entities. We want to hear from top leadership, such as the trustees, such as the president, such as the provost, because I guess that really means a lot to us. And just to echo what you said, we actually do have some representation on the call. Mr. Burdell Jackson, who is a member on the board of trustees, on the call. So he is listening what you're saying. He cares about what you're saying, and hopefully this will move us the needle to make sure what happens on this call can be implemented after this call. So thank you so much. And Talani, to ask you another question. What are some of your concerns you're hearing from students or your constituents?
Most definitely the lack of Black staff on campus. It's disappointing, honestly. I can say throughout my whole college career, I have only had 2 Black professors.
Yes.
You know, and that's just my program. I can't even speak on the engineering program or things of that sort, you know. I hear all the time, people are always so excited to get a Black professor, and that's just so rare to them. You know, it's like, and when we see that there's someone in our field in the classroom that looks like us, it gives us confidence. You know, we feel better when we walk into the class because we know that there's someone out there that looks like us that's able to relate with how we're feeling. You know, especially in these times. Now, I do love my program. I do. You know, it's a great program, but I would like to see more of that, you know, and I can say from everyone that I've spoken to, they feel the same way, you know, more Black staff. There's just more Black staff.
I definitely agree. Representation is definitely important. When I was in DC to see a Black congresswoman for the first time, she's only 30 years old. That's huge. I think that we should have more representation. I know through Brothers on the Rise, hearing mentors and mentees of men of color is huge because as Damon Pryor said, Mr. Pryor, they came to the university and they had never seen a Black man who was a VP or in leadership. And that's scary. So I completely agree that there should be more representation in our fields. We can know that we can make it there, and it gives us a little push. The next question I'm going to ask is, and you kind of already elaborated to it, is what do you need to see from faculty and staff and campus administration? So you kind of brushed up upon it, but if Talani, if you want to kind of push the needle of what you were saying, that would be great.
We would like support. You know, these are trying times. Just as a Black woman, every day when I walk out my apartment door is not guaranteed, you know. And when you walk into a classroom and your peers do not look like you, and then your professor does not look like you, it's kind of scary. So some support would be nice, you know. hey, I've been hearing everything that's been going on. I just want to let you know that I'm with you and I can support you. If you need me to support you in any way, I can do that for you. You know, I haven't received a lot of that. I haven't, you know, and I'm not sure if you've received it. I'm not sure if Nadia, Daniel, Anthony, whoever. You know, that's what we need right now.
I completely agree. We do need that support, especially since students are we are virtual. We definitely need that support to make sure we can get to the university successfully, graduate. That's the main goal. So I definitely agree. Daniel, if you could kind of interject, you hit on a lot of important points, but if you can kind of bring home some of the main points you stated that you need from faculty, staff, and campus administration.
Well, first to connect back with what Solani was saying, I myself, prior to actually taking classes within my college, which is engineering, I've only had one African American professor. And that wasn't a class that I needed to take. I took it knowing that there was going to be an African American professor. So I think that says a lot. I think it does a lot for you when you walk into a classroom and you see someone who has achieved what you're trying to achieve and they look like you. I think that can do wonders for you. Not even just at our age. When you're growing up and you're in elementary school and you're in high school and you see people achieving the things that you dream about doing, that's powerful. Yes. I think that has a big issue to do with the retention that we have on this campus, is that we don't see a lot of people that look like us. We have a lot of people that we can call on, that we know that are allies, but from a professor standpoint, people who teach us on a day-to-day basis, we don't see that. And I think that that's one of the big issues on UT's campus. And one of the solutions or things that Saab came up with, as something that can at least break the barrier between relations between students of color or just diverse students and the majority professor, is to make these professors come to some of these multicultural events. Make them come to 2-3 events a semester. Make them write a piece on what they thought about the event, what they learned from the event, how it affected them, things like that. And I think that can build a connection between the students and the teachers, or the professors, I should add. I think that's something that can be really effective, if that's something that's...
Yes, I totally agree. I think having more, seeing more of that interaction would be huge. And to ask another question, when you were in Dayton and you went to DECA, did you have more teachers or professors that were Black or of color that helped you out more? And is that why you feel like you were prepared to come to UT, or could you talk a little bit more about that?
Actually, the superintendent, she was a white lady, yes, but our principal and our vice principal, they were African American. They held that position from my 7th and 8th grade years all the way up until I graduated high school. I can't tell you the amount of times that I have been to their houses, that I have met their kids. My vice president is the reason that I got the scholarship that I got before I came to UT, just off a personal relationship that we had with one another. Just the relationship that I was able to build with them, just because they knew the circumstances that I was coming from and where I was trying to end up in life.
Yeah, I completely agree. Having those mentors, especially that look like us. I know in my personal life, I had a mentor, and he was like a kind of like a stepdad to me, and he was a lawyer. I never met a lawyer in my life when I was young, so seeing that a Black man could be a lawyer was huge for me. So I completely agree. And kind of to transition to Nadia, what are your thoughts on this subject? What can faculty, staff, administration, what can they do at the University of Toledo to help us out and kind of move the needle?
I love what Daniel was saying about like having professors attend events like this so they can like really hear how we feel. Because even though we're minorities, like we're still here on campus and we're still doing just as much. So like I feel like it would be very beneficial for them to do like a training like that to like kind of break the barrier, or to make some type of like to take that initiative, like it shows us that they care enough to like at least like try to make us feel more included, even though like another thing that Dang was saying and Tulani was about like how having somebody that looks like you is just so important to your like in those like positions is just really important to your development. Like um that's one thing I love about this university is that we have African Americans in a lot of professional roles, like executive roles, like, and I love that. But it's like you're right, like we do need to just see more of that in our day to day. Like I'm actually envious of y'all because I've never had an African American professor on campus, and it's like, because it's like you really do just need to see that growing up. Like even at my high school, I think we only had one teacher there, and it was a predominantly minority school. So it's like I just feel like that's where not just in higher education, but in education period, like we're being set up for failure in that like sense that we're not seeing those role models in those roles, And
Yes.
so I feel like it really just goes down to like what does the university look for, or like what's the like I don't understand where the disconnect is that is like handful of diverse professors. Like I'm like, how can we widen the application pool or change like what the application questions say to like make it more accessible to diverse candidates? Because I know it's people applying. Like so I'm
Yes.
like, what's the problem? Because I've even heard somebody say like, yeah, like my dad's a professor, he tried to get a job here and he didn't get it, and he was African American. So I'm like, of course that's just one case. Like I don't know why the man didn't get the job, but like to even hear like that, somebody is actually applying for those roles, and I just don't see many at all. Like I don't know.
Yeah, yes, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Especially as you go up you farther from freshman to a sophomore. Not just the professors, but the students. We don't see any students of color to your left and your right, so it starts to kind of get a little lonely. That's why me and Daniel, I'm so happy, and Domingo, we're so blessed to be in the MESP program, the Multi-Immersion Scholars Program. And if you don't know what that program is, it's when students come in after they graduate from high school, and we get free food, free housing, 7 credits, and we get personal and professional development. So we're surrounded by our peers that's just like us, that just got out of college from all over the country. And also we're connected to, back in my day, Dr. K, Dr. McCather, great people like Malika, Dr. Sammy Spann. And we that's the first thing we do when we get on campus. So I think that's so important. I think that's why we got so far, because we had that support. So I completely agree. And I think Dominique Grace is on the call, on the panel, on the stage. So Dominique, please introduce yourself and tell us how you're feeling. You were a part of an amazing group that's been doing incredible work throughout the summer. 9 girls. So if you could say their names and give us a little input about you, that'd be amazing.
Hello. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was having a little bit technical difficulties. But yes, my name is Dominique Grace. I'm a senior here at the University of Toledo, and I'm a part of Toledo Together. So it's a little bit of background about how we kind of started that. Obviously, like during the summer, there's a lot of racial tension going on, especially specifically with the killing of George Floyd. And it was almost just like such a huge movement just across the nation, as we always saw with the protests and even riots and everything. So, of course, we were having some protests here in Toledo. And we were a part of like the bigger one, like just the very general ones that were kind of just led by whoever. It was just like a general kind of flyer that always went around. And we were kind of seeing the leaders of that protest, and we didn't really agree with what their standpoints were. They weren't really led by African Americans, which I'm not saying like a group that has to be led by that, but it does add a little extra with protesting and everything. So we kind of saw that their intentions were kind of ill-mannered. Whenever something would happen, it was very, oh, get your phone out, take a picture. And we really didn't kind of respect that because, as you know, just being like a person of color or a Black person in general, we're Black every day. We don't get to pick and choose when we want, you know, how we want to be treated in the society. So it's kind of like a slap in the face to us. And we kind of just thought of it, us and 9 other people that go to UT, to kind of just say, let's start something that'll be more pure, more meaningful, and kind of more organized. So that's what we kind of just did that. We didn't really expect much to come out of it. We didn't really want much. We just were like, well, let's lead the people in a right direction. And then it kind of just blew up. And we love the support we got from the community, the university, and just people all over that were willing to donate and help us with the protest and kind of bring awareness to the racial injustices that we even see here in Toledo. So yeah, that's a little bit of background about that. Right now, we're kind of like rebranding everything, kind of seeing where we want to take things, because protesting does do a lot of work, but there has to be a lot of behind the scenes work as well. So we want to take the time to kind of educate ourselves on Toledo, the background, its history, to kind of get a more long-lasting kind of effect and everything. And I kind of came in a little bit like while Daniel was talking about people in the conversations of race here at the UT. And I actually love that he said that. Obviously, Nadia touched on it as well. When talking about diversity, we can't only have diversity, inclusion, OMSS for multicultural. We have to have everybody, like everybody from every single org on the university campus should always be here to talk about diversity. We can't just sit here and only have the one that are predominantly Black or reach out to only people of color or students of color. We need to have everybody at the table. We can't have, we all know that there's an issue, obviously, you know, so that's what our organizations kind of stand for. It's our job to almost kind of educate and let people know like what our standpoint is, what our view is, and what we as students of color need at the university.
Yes, I definitely agree. And you're busy. You were an MESP student. Just so tell the audience and the panelists, how are you feeling? How is Domingue feeling like through all of this?
Just myself being like a Black woman has always been something like I'm obviously very proud of. It's kind of just like in your narrative almost. It's like I don't see a lot of people that look like me. Especially I went to a predominantly all-white Catholic girls school, so I didn't see any representation of a Black teacher at all through high school. So even coming to MESP, that's where I met Amir and actually Dan and everything. And I was just actually very blessed. At first, I didn't really see it because, you know, I'm coming from high school, I'm young. But as time went on and when school actually came in session, you know, my cohort was majority Black. I think there was one white girl there. That's about it. All my mentors are Black. I think most of our professors are Black. Like you said, like Dr. McKether, Dr. Span, like we got very acquainted on campus. And on the first day, I was shocked. Like I was looking left or right, looking for someone who looks just like me. And thank God I had 40 other people plus maybe like 6 to 10 other people that were going to help me through the process of me going through college. So I was very thankful for that. But it's almost like if you weren't in that program, you probably would have never knew that Dr. McKether was on campus, that there even is an MESP. Thank God my mom signed me up. But it's like these resources kind of have to be put out there and advertised on a bigger scale so people actually get in it. Like this should be a maxed out program every single semester. It should be offered all the time. And we kind of have to highlight our Black faculty and staff. We do have little mixers here and there, but it should be a reoccurring thing. I think sometimes Black students at PWIs get so lost and forgotten about that we have to make sure we stick together and find those resources and hand out our resources to that. So especially even this semester, I was actually really worried. I'm just kind of like, even when I'm on campus, there's not many people on campus at all, you know, social distancing, COVID. I haven't seen any Black students anywhere. And I'm kind of just like, you know, are they at home? Are they in the RAs? Have they met any other, I know it sounds so weird, but like Black students, like representation is such a huge thing. And I'm so blessed that you and I and everyone else has been able to actually experience that, because it actually has gotten to us where we are right now.
You hit on a multitude of points, and we have had people in the chat saying I went to a all-white institution, or I went to I had the same experience. So people can definitely identify what you're struggling, what you're going through. I want to get to the questions side. We have some people in the chat. Nadia, I want to ask you. We have someone named Lynn, and they ask, do you have any thoughts of whether it is more effective to talk about anti-racism than diversity or not? So the question is, do you have any thoughts on whether it is more effective to talk about anti-racism than diversity or not?
Yeah, I have replied in the Q&A, but I feel like it's really important to talk about both because diversity just goes to show like that there's a wide array of people being represented, you know, and that's very important. What I had said to Lynn was, I'm trying to scroll up, but okay, I said that it's effective to talk about anti-racism because there's so many sayings and actions in our everyday language that are performed, and like a lot of those are characteristic of racism, like just unconscious things that people do or say that are racist, but like we don't like talk about it. So maybe if we do implement some type of, you know, anti-racism, like it's just the thing is, it's really just treating people how you want to be treated, like at the end of the day. And it's like, you should know that maybe if I say something like, oh, dang, like that probably offends somebody else. Like you should be, like, we should all have that, like, in our minds as humans, like to just, you know, treat others with respect. So just emphasizing that, like in terms of anti-racism, like, because I don't even, yeah, I would say just implementing like emphasizing the fact that like just treat people equally. Like that's really all it is.
Yes, and I totally agree. I'm gonna put that question as Anthony. So I'm gonna put that question on Daniel. Do you feel like anti-racism? Sorry about that. I'm going to the question. Do you think it's more effective to talk about anti-racism than diversity or not? And this could be speaking on microaggressions, as Nadia alluded to, and some other important things to address. So what are your thoughts?
I think it's important to highlight that diversity and racism or anti-racism, they're different things. Yes, they can go hand in hand, but they are different things. Diversity speaks to a different races that come together for a particular reason, and that's when you show you have a diverse group. I won't speak on the definition of racism because I think we all know that. I mean, well, I think this is the platform to speak on that. Racism, to be racist, you have to be in a position of power. Right now, we're on this call because we aren't in a position of power, and we're looking to be put in a position of power. So I think that, yes, they go hand in hand. And a lot of times when we talk about racism, we bring up diversity, but they are two very different things.
I totally agree. Knowing the differences between these terms, such as diversity, anti-racism, inclusion, that's how you start that conversation and start get to the meat of what's really going on. So I completely agree. Dominga, what are your thoughts on this question?
Definitely agree. See what Daniel said. A lot of people don't even know the definition of it, and it's like it's always like a huge misunderstanding. But it's like people have to take that time to educate themselves, especially about everything.
Yes, and to ask you, Dominga, what can our non-Black peers or people who are older, I know you've seen a lot going through the streets of Toledo, whether it's Sylvania, Holland, and all the areas you were in, what can our non-Black peers or individuals do to help us elevate and move our cause?
Kind of what I've noticed with people, a lot of people are aware of what goes on. A lot of people see the news. A lot of people are aware of it and just either don't care and that's just probably them, you know. It's like it doesn't affect me, you know. I'm not being discriminated against. I'm not being killed in the streets, so it doesn't have anything to do with me. I feel like from what I've seen, a lot of people are almost don't care, and that's kind of the very sad reality. We've heard people say, you know, I don't care about your skin. I don't have white privilege. We all have the same opportunities. And it's almost like ignorance and just, like I said, a lack of sympathy and empathy. Like they could just really care less. So as like a person that isn't of color, seeing all this on campus, like what you can do is, one, you have to actually see a problem with it. We've noticed a lot. We want to have conversations with certain people, with certain groups. If they don't see an issue with it, it's almost like you're talking to a brick wall.
Yes.
It's unfortunate, but I guess what they can do is, like I said, I don't know, it's almost like a personal thing.
Yes.
You know, if you meet a racist, he's just kind of racist, and that's about it. You know, you really can't change their views on it. I think maybe something I could maybe turn it to what the university may be able to do.
Yes.
Like I said, I know a lot of times African studies classes are optional. I always try to take one like every other semester of some sort, but it should almost be a requirement. Like I said, something like that. I can change it to the university maybe. Hey, let's educate people on the real facts of our history, because we're not learning it in school, in high school. So people are coming fresh out of high school. I think some girl I had in my Africana studies class, she was white, and I actually knew her. She went to my high school, and she said she didn't see a Black person until she was like 9.
Yes.
And it's like people are sometimes just sheltered. So it's almost like, well, I think it's maybe the university's responsibility to make sure that people are educated, required like it is like a general requirement in Africana studies class. Let's advertise more Black organizations on campus. I feel like sometimes just what I've heard from like word of mouth, we have to fight to get certain like events, certain days, certain rooms. And it's almost like, hey, if you know that the student union will be a great place to have this event, why would you force this group, this organization on campus to go far out or on a weird time of the day and like have all these other kind of campus sponsored organizations have way more advertisement, way more funding. And it's like, I feel like at this point, it's maybe the university's like job to educate the students that attend UT.
Yes, I definitely agree. I know our office, diversity of inclusion, we're doing a lot of important initiatives to address what you're saying. We know it's a problem, but in society and these institutions and just in general, we want it to happen genuinely. We don't always want to force diversity and inclusion on people, but we do need to have a conversation so it can happen genuinely. And I do agree. I think my white counterparts, old and young, they came from affluent backgrounds where they're like, I don't know what Black Lives Matter. I never had fear when I got pulled over by the police. When I walk down the street, I'm not feeling anything. I don't have to worry about microaggressions. So I think having that conversation and them hearing you is a great way of pushing, like I said, pushing the needle and allowing them to understand our pain, our frustrations. Because as Daniel alluded to, being on this platform, we have the power and our voices are heard. So this is the first step to really making a change. It's not going to solve everything in one night, but it's really going to make a change. So I definitely agree. And to ask Daniel that question, what are your thoughts?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat it, please?
So this question, I want to ask, can you elaborate more? And this is a question from Dr. Flapp. Can you elaborate more on what support looks like from the university, and also just as Domingue alluded to, OSIL, what can they do to improve the Black experience on campus? Can you kind of elaborate on those two questions?
First, I would like to say that OSIL is the Black experience on campus. Outside of our Greek organization, our Black Greek organization, yes. OSIL is the outlet for Black people. It's where we go to study. It's where we have a lot of study tables. It's where we have a lot of our multicultural events. It's where we can connect with a lot of people in higher education. Yes. And we need things for events and things of that nature. So I would say to that point, we need to expand and we need to figure out how we can connect with other offices to see how we can build a connection with them and see how they're willing to be able to make a change and see how they want to help the people that are not being looked after right now.
And I definitely agree. I know OMSS, they do a great job of that, and I don't know if you were referring to them, such as Jam Session. Nadia knows, we all know Jam Session. We first come to campus, that's the place to be. I know that it can't happen on campus now due to COVID, but jam session is an amazing part to see different organizations and also get to see MPHC rich history in a short amount of time. So I think you might have been referring to OMS office, and I can probably have some clarity on that. But yeah. Yes, hello?
Yes, I was referring to OMSS office.
Okay, I just want to have some clarity, but I definitely agree. It should be some breaking down of the silos. OMS office does an amazing job of bringing in tutors of color to help us out, study tables, getting us together, having that Black experience. So I think that is important. And as I talked about the jam session, Nadia, what are some things you can elaborate that the university can do as far as support, and what can the OSIL office do to increase the Black experience?
I feel like last year I seen a lot of support from OSIL for like BSU and stuff.
Mhm.
And it's like, I get that because like BSU is like the premier Black organization, but like showering some of that support to like the other Black orgs like that will just show like, I don't know, like, that TV that's out there, like, like showcasing like SOB or 4AW on that TV, like little things like that make so much of a difference for real.
Mhm.
Another thing, like in terms of representation and stuff, like that's why in PhD we're working on getting plots on campus.
Yes.
Like plots, like Greek plots are like our letters. Like you go through the Greek village of IFC and Panhandle and you see all their letters and you think that's the only stuff that they have here. But no, like we have all 9, Divine 9 MPHC orgs, and nobody would ever know that from just walking on campus. So that's why we've been working hard to like bring plots about, because like representation just means so much. And like having that support, like the Office of Student Involvement, like I know that if we go to them, like we'll get that support, but it's like they should reach out too. Like just to see like, oh, how are y'all doing? Like, like I haven't seen y'all doing that much like recently. Like, are you okay? Like, how are y'all doing mentally? Because like all of the Black organizations have gone through a lot like this whole year, So it's like reaching out to us genuinely. Like I know we say genuinely a lot, but like this is what we mean by genuinely. Like people reaching out because they genuinely care, not because they feel like, oh, I have to reach out because of my job type thing. Like reach out and show us that you actually care, like about what we have going on, about our mental health, like all that type of stuff. Cause people expect so much from us, but then like they're not asking us like what's going on, So I don't know, like that's definitely a way I would say.
Nah, valid point. That support, genuine support, is important. Getting a text message or getting a phone call.
Yeah.
The use of Starfish. A lot of times, they can advisors and they can see that we're not doing well. Do a phone call, do a knock to see how you're doing. And I know I can't speak too much about some things we're doing in our office, but we are moving to the point where we do want to create programs and systems, and also have spaces for Black students. I know Trio was our spot, but we need more than Trio just to have conversations, just to meet, just to be tutored, just to have mentorship. So it's definitely some things in the work. Anthony, I'm just seeing you. Sorry if I avoided you. I didn't see you on the screen, but if you can kind of voice your opinion on some of your thoughts of what the university can do, and also your thoughts about OSIL and the Black experience, that would be great.
So yeah, sorry about that. My connection was cutting in and out. Yeah, basically going back based off what Amir and Nadia said was yeah, definitely one thing is like with the genuine support, and I was just thinking about it right. It was funny because I was thinking about it right before she even said it. You like you said, the genuine support, like don't just reach out to us because you feel like you have to, because things are starting to come out. Just do it because you just actually genuinely care about Black and brown students. That's one thing. And what I think I heard, just kind of reading some of the Q&A, I meet with Dr. Postal monthly. Yes. So it's like, if you guys, like, a lot of you guys have my phone number, shoot me an email. I meet with him monthly. I meet with him pretty often. So if you guys just need, for me to get things to him, that I'm just a phone call or email, text away. So like like I said, so I mean with him, and then it's always I can bring it to the board's attention too. I was going through and it is I think I saw a board member, Mr. Verdell Jackson is in here right now too as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
So yeah, so like as I said before, so if you guys feel the need to reach out to me if there's anything that you want me to bring to university wide attention. I don't know if you guys met Dr. Posey yet. The guy is a real down to earth guy. Very, very, very cool and very, very easy to get to know. So definitely, just let me know.
And to your point, that is important that our senior leadership understands what we're trying to do. Our voices are heard, and I think it's well appreciated. And I actually can say the office, our new office, is going to be the Racial Equity and Black Student Excellence. So we're right now we're in the planning stage. Like I said, Trio is okay, but we need a more cohesive space to meet, to talk, to joke around, to fellowship, to have that real support. So that is going to be office. And I know UC. If you don't know UC, their program is robust, and we just had an amazing meeting with them last week. So to kind of integrate these important initiatives that we're speaking on this platform, they are in the works. So. So thank you so much. And Dominga, if you can kind of voice your opinion on what the university can do and if OSIL does provide a Black experience, or what can they do to provide a Black experience?
I think we already touched on it, but I definitely do think OSIL is a great place to study for the Black experience. That, like you said, Trio, just like almost like these places are kind of good and bad because they are study spaces at the same time. They do our offices with other people, so it's like even we are kind of like conversating, it still really is a professional setting. So even kind of getting more like of a lounge place where it's not too like academically like supported, if that makes sense for lack of better words. So I definitely do think OSL does do a great job, but just kind of providing more spaces. I think you had said, I believe. And then yeah, just like with the support of the university. I know, I guess I don't want to reiterate more, but like genuinity, like just be genuine. Because it is kind of hard always seeing on social media another Black person being killed. Like it does take a toll on you mentally, always seeing stuff in the news and media of just people who look just like you, always getting assaulted, always getting arrested, always getting beaten, always getting stopped. Like that does take a toll. And it's kind of like, it makes you just have has a toll on you emotionally. Looking at like, oh, like about your family, how you want to do things. It kind of it does push us more to work harder, but it is also very emotionally draining. So always checking in on your students. Yeah.
I definitely agree. Support is definitely the main word of tonight. Having that support is crucial, and seeing it in a genuine way is crucial. So Dominga, I have to ask you, how can existing support systems on campus, offices and program improve their support for Black students? So I know Trio does an amazing job. Kenny, he advises students that come in to make sure they get to different resources. Somebody reached out to me and said, hey, how do I work Blackboard? Or I don't have a computer. I'm doing all my work on my phone. How can the university kind of intervene existing programs to try to make our experience better academically, socially, and all the above?
Yes, I actually work with Mr. Kenny. I think he's fine. He's very like, he'll see me in the union and he'll be like, oh, since I see you, like, let's just schedule a meeting.
Yes.
And it's like, it never comes out to, it's almost like, as students, we have so much going on, but it's always necessary. Like, what time works for you? Like, and I love that he does that. Actually, I have to reschedule something with him. But I love that he actually, stops with his students, stops and talks. Like, you can see like the passion of our faculty and staff who really do put in that overtime. I know you guys have a certain time of day that you guys do stuff like for faculty and staff, but you do see when students are taking, if we meet, offer us maybe lunch, like in lunchtime, in their offices or something, just to take their time out to talk to us. So just doing more of that. I think our Black faculty and staff does a good job of doing that. I don't want to speak negatively on the white faculty and staff because I maybe not have ever encountered one with them, but just like overall general, just make sure you're interacting with students, stopping students. You know, you may walk past a student, you can stop and say, hey, like, hey, aren't you in my class or something like that? Because it's almost like sometimes it's so easy to kind of think that your professor just never notices you, you know, never cares or says anything. You know, it's just like you go to class, do the lecture, turn your stuff in, do whatever. So kind of just being more hands-on with your students. You asked another question. I really forgot.
Yes, I know, Talani, I haven't asked you a question in a while, and I apologize for that. Can you tell us about the microaggressions or biases you do experience on campus, and what do you get support from your white peer students or different allies, or what do you need from them?
Microaggressions. Ooh, we could talk all day about this. I mean, it's, you all have seen that video that went viral. Little black girl was talking about how, you know, she took a test and someone, oh, well, did you get an F? You know, that's the type of stuff that happens, you know, and it's very frustrating because at that, when that happens to you, it's kind of like, okay, well, do I act out or should I just stay professional? Should I, you know, because it's very hard every day when you're hearing these constant microaggressions and things of that sort. And then once you do respond in the way that you're supposed to, then you get labeled as the angry black boy. And then now you got security and everybody else coming on campus, and then it's just too much, you know? And so it's kind of like, I can't even be in the classroom without hearing something, you know? So it's very frustrating. I see Dominga nodding her head. She feels the same way. Could you repeat the other half of the question, please?
What on the other side? What support from your white peers or students? How can you? So, what do you need from them? The people you are feeling microaggressions from, or your white peers that are supporting you. What do you need from them? Whether it's leveraging their privilege, whether it's support from them, what does that look like?
I would say check your privilege, honestly. Even I have to find myself constantly checking my privilege, you know, going into certain situations, internships, and seeing different kids and different, you know, they come from a different class of me. I constantly have to check my privilege. And if I can do it, y'all can do it. You know, it's I don't understand why the first thing that comes out of your mouth is, did you get an F? Because why would you even think something like that? You know? So check your privilege and educate yourself. I mean, yes, reaching out, hey, you know, I'm hearing about this and that, but if you really want to make a change, you know, look in the mirror. It starts with yourself, you know, and then educating yourself. What can I do to change that? You know, I think that's the biggest thing.
Yes, I completely agree. Being in these spaces and being Black, especially a student, I had multiple internships, and we're not taught how to deal with situations. And sometimes we make mistakes, but I think from our white peers, being able to let down your ego and your privilege to have that conversation, I think that would be amazing. And just asking how we ask tonight, how are you feeling? What is your perspective on this? It's I feel like it'll be way better and we can get way farther once we start having those real conversations and we can start working together. Daniel, I love it from you. You're an engineering major. Not a lot of Black students are in that program. So can you kind of elaborate the microaggressions you have dealt with and what would you need from your white peers?
It's kind of funny because the microaggressions that I received, they aren't really I guess I could kind of take them as negative, but they're not negative, because when I tell someone that I'm an engineering major, they say, "Oh, you must be a smart kid. You must be a smart kid," as if I mean, why can't somebody that's in an arts major be a smart kid and they're just passionate about being in the arts? I mean, that's something that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. I can't say that I received too many other microaggressions. Other than that, I think a lot of times I'm not scared to ask my peers for help or my professors for help, and they kind of notice that. I'm one to ask a lot of questions and be curious about a lot of things. So me personally, I think I kind of avoid that by just letting my personality out and voicing my opinions, whether it be directly through what we're talking about through class or how I'm understanding something while we're talking about it in class. That's just something that I think us as Black students can do to help combat microaggressions rather than I mean, of course, other people have the responsibility not to project them onto us, but we can't correct them.
Yes, I definitely agree. Coming from Trotwood, I know it was a majority Black school, but as I went to CTC, which is a tech school where all the students from around the county, that was my first kind of interaction with true microaggressions and, stuff like they turn off the lights, hey, where Amir go? Or seeing people say racist stuff such as racial slurs. That is something I had to deal with, and we had to do that in a learning environment. So that can be very damaging, especially as a college student, having to deal with finances, having to deal with where to live, having to deal if you're either going to get a scholarship or go to next year. You're away from home, so all these different factors that we have to deal with. But at the end of the day, when someone says something wrong, we have to just smile and act professional. And I think that's something that we really need to address. So I'll probably go to Lonnie. What are your thoughts on this subject?
I agree. It's really hard to, when someone says something, some sort of slur to you, or they push their opinions on you, and you just have to sit there and smile. I see all over the internet bunch of white women, getting in people's faces all the time, and yeah, they get labeled a Karen, but it doesn't. Well, I can't say it doesn't hurt to the extent as it does being a Black person. I can't say that, but because I'm not a white person, I just know how it is being a Black woman. And it's hard to have to put on that smile and have to, oh, ha, 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 laugh it off when really it hurts you and you want to just go away. You want to get mad and you can't do that. And it's just unfortunate. I hate it every single time. I have to laugh it off or, oh, huh, and then it's, yeah.
I totally agree. I think people in the panel can agree in the audience. A major question I'll probably ask Nadia, why is silence not good in today's society? And also, why are young people angry and protesting? So if you can answer, I think Dominga, I think all the panelists can kind of jump in on this question. But the first question is, why is silence not good in today's society? And why are young people angry and protesting?
Yeah, so silence isn't good because now more than ever you have every way to show your support, whether it be calling us, whether it be texting, emailing, reposting something on social media. There are too many opportunities for you to show how you really feel. So if you're silent, a lot of people will take, oh, they're being too silent, but they're always around me, to our friends that are in the majority but are always with us. So it's how do you feel? You're not showing, you're not even asking. I have a friend, she's Latina, but still she reached out to me as soon as everything started and was how are you feeling? How are you and that just means so much because it's even though she doesn't they have their own set of struggles, but the fact that she recognizes that the stuff that's going on is not right, that's what we want to see, because if you're silent, we can just assume that if you're silent, you don't care, and that's what it shows us, and that's why we say we need that genuine encounters from people in the administration and stuff, because we feel maybe they sent out a statement or something, but what else have y'all done? In my eyes, a statement is cool, but without action, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
So
that's true. I think, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I was going to say a big statement now. Since COVID, the university just wants our money. The university just wants our university so they can send us home. And
Yeah.
to the administration, you know, they're behind closed doors. They do care and they do want to do outreach. And you know, even as Brothers on the Rise, we set up a table. In 2 hours, we only had 3 Black males. That's scary. So I think they're trying to find outreach to get to us, but it is hard. But I think the big statement is the university, they're going to send us home, they're going to take our money. But of course, we can, that narrative is untrue. And there are people wanting to make sure you are successful. So I definitely agree with your statement. If you see someone hurting, or if you know someone that's in pain, go ahead and reach out, because that's the most important part. I can ask Anthony about this question. Why is silence not good, and why are we angry and protesting?
I love that question. So for one, silence is it's not good because for one, it makes it look like you're just ignoring it.
Yes.
Based off and it's crazy because when the only thing I was Facebook at the time back in June, and just going through, just seeing all these posts and everything, when people were being silent, that just obviously shows that you just don't care pretty much. And I've seen it all through, because I went to a predominantly white high school, so I already know all the microaggressions. It was funny because all the microaggressions you mentioned, I heard it all the way through middle school, elementary school, and high school. So it's like, you know, the people who were just sitting there that was silent, they obviously didn't care to stand up, and the people who actually said something about it, who corrected the other white people about it, they actually cared. And why people so angry? I think it's just to the point that we just got so fed up over years and years and years and years of dealing with this, especially back when because I was back in high school. I was when Michael Brown got shot. I actually did my senior project on police brutality. And I was just telling people that it's funny that 3 years later that we still dealing with the same issues that we were dealing with 4 or 5 years ago. And I already told y'all about this stuff that was going on. But it's funny how, you know, now y'all making posts about it on Facebook and everything. But I already told you guys this is my senior year high school project. So that's why we're so angry, because we just dealt with it so long till we just reached the breaking point with the George Floyd killing.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think it is important. Something I have an opinion on, especially black people with support. As earlier, I know you got off the call, but there is different ways to support. You can retweet, you can donate. We have the George Floyd Scholarship that UT is creating, which is amazing. And so it's different ways to support, such as retweeting, such as donating, such as getting out like Dominga did this summer. To make sure our voices are heard. So I think it is important to address that there is different ways to support, but especially our white allies, making sure that you're not silent during these times. You see a lot of companies, they stepped up and are posting a lot of content with us. You got the NBA, you got Uber, and all these different companies supporting us. So I think that is important. And a question, as it's 15 minutes, so I want to ask maybe one or two questions, and then we'll wrap it up. Based on your experience, do you believe that UT cares about the Black experience? Not that it's racist, but do you feel like UT generally cares about the Black experience? I'll start with Dominga.
I don't want to say they don't, but it definitely can be improved for sure. Like, I remember specifically, I don't know, I was a mentor for a couple of programs like MORE, the MESP. And I remember, we have some Black dancers, but like for like Black cheerleaders, I don't know when that was, but it was before my time. There was like a Black summer on UT's campus, and there's like a little cutout of her, we have like little banners and stuff for like events to kind of display students and like kind of the culture of UT. And we use that banner, I think, for everything. It's almost like. I'm sorry. It's just like stuff like that. It's just almost like I'm sorry. I'm trying to put this away. Like I said, I think it can be improved for sure. I guess I'll even touch on that a little bit. Like I remember they try to like have tryouts for more like multicultural people in the cheerleading, because like I did gymnastics. I've done cheer through high school, through middle school. Like, you know, I can do a little something. Yes. But I honestly, I'm not gonna lie, was a little. I didn't really want to try out because I'm just like, will I make it? Because I'm taller. I think I'm like 5'9". I'm really tall. I'm like 160. Like I'm not no light, petite little girl. But like I said, I can tell like I meet all the requirements, but I was very hesitant to even want to apply because I didn't see any Black cheerleaders. Like I'm like, well, will they even accept me? Am I about to try out? Am I about to take up all this time and like not do it? So even like small things like that, that more things that are more funded by campus seem to be more predominantly white. Like campus activities and programming. That is a huge organization on campus. It receives a lot of funding. Even student government, a lot of funding, a lot of attention. But it's like there's nobody in there that looks like us at all ever. So just small stuff like that, like having things that are more advertised by university and generally allowing more Black people to apply, which kind of sounds weird, but like it's small things like that. I know you talk about microaggressions a little bit, but like even stuff like that, like I said, I've just used my experience on the cheerleading thing. I would meet all the requirements, but I was even a little timid to apply. I'm just like, will I even do it? Because I didn't see anybody that looked just like me. So just stuff like that. I think I had to say that.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask this question to a couple more panelists. Now I have one last question. Nadia, what is your opinion? Do you think UT cares about the Black experience, or genuinely cares, as we said before?
I feel like the university does care about the students, but it's like more so like the people that you meet while you're here, like that they care about, if that makes sense. Like the people that they're seeing,
Yes.
like, because I'm not gonna say they don't care about the students, but there are some faculty and staff that care a lot more than others about like our experience and how we're doing. And those are the allies that we keep referring to, but we need it to be like everybody caring about what we have going on. And I feel like part of that, I don't know, like that's the reason why, like me personally, that's the reason why I applied to do, like, I'm on an honor society, and I guess it's one of the like highest honor societies on campus. And it's just me and one other like woman of color on there, but it's like the only reason I applied is so that like other students could see that, like we can do it too. Like that's literally the only reason why I applied for that honor society, is to show like other students like that we can do this type of stuff, like we just have to really apply. Like nothing is gonna get handed to us, at all. Like we have to really work for it and put in the work for it. And all of us have accomplished so much. And
Yes.
there are so many other students who have done so much, but it's like opportunities like that, like people don't even hear about that. Like I only knew to apply for that because I worked in the Office of Involvement and Leadership.
Yes.
Like if I was just a regular student, like, because they're not advertising to the minorities, like they're not advertising those roles to us, and that's why there aren't many of us there. So like before I graduate, I'm going to make sure that like the future like of these organizations that I've joined like has more color in it, because we can do it. Like, like we have to make our experience our own. And so like what can we do, like as a panel, like all of us, like we have to make those steps to make the campus better, because we're about to graduate. A lot of us are upperclassmen. So it's like all we can really do is like make it better for everybody.
I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I think you hit the nail on the head. A lot of these opportunities, even being graduate GA right now, you have to speak up, you have to ask. It's never easy, but I think to have some type of programs to let us know about these internships, to let us know about these job opportunities. That's the biggest part we don't know. And even when I came to campus, someone said, it's no point in complaining about that. They're not going to do anything. But in the realistic aspect, they will. If you speak your voice, if you say what you have to say, and you have support behind it, you're going to, change the campus, change the world. So I definitely agree with what you said. And the last question I have to ask is, Daniel, what are you most proud of right now?
What am I most proud of in regards to what the university has done, what I've done personally on this campus? I'm sorry.
Yes. That's what are you most proud of as of right now at the University of Toledo, and kind of where you're at right now?
I think what I was most proud of was I want to say going back to my sophomore/junior year in high school when I was able to be community service chair, Student African American Brotherhood. We were able to do a lot of things in the community. As far as one big thing we were able to do was connect with Brothers for Bras. That's we had a group called Brothers for Bras. We partnered with a program called Student G Komen. It's a national breast cancer awareness organization. That was one of the most things I'm most proud of because I have a grandmother who passed away from breast cancer. That's not something that I talk about a lot, being a little bit vulnerable, but that's something that I was more passionate in and affecting the community. I love being the president of the South, but I love being involved in the community.
Yeah, that's huge, and I appreciate you sharing that with us because I didn't know that about you. So that's huge, and I already know you're gonna go far. So I'm not even worried about you. Anthony, what are you most proud of right now?
For me, at least, I would say I'm just blessed to be where I'm at the institution. At least I'm just blessed to have this position. Because last year I was a finalist, and then generally a lot of people of color don't even apply to this position. So a lot of people don't even know about it at that. So, and people said it said a lot about my character that I applied again and I got it. That's what I'm pretty much most proud of, and another thing I'm proud to see people who are new freshman year still here to this day. A lot of people, they transferred or dropped out because of money issues, et cetera, but I'm glad to see other students who are here and still have a good relationships with a lot of the people too as well. And then what you guys had mentioned before just a second ago, how about future students, and that's part of at least the student trustee role is not only advocating for students here now, but I'm advocating for students that are in 5th grade. You know what I mean? So it's like students who are 5 to 10 years from now, because it's like a year-to-year position as well. So it's like, I think that, what we're doing now and things will transition everything what we've been talking about now, we're getting ready for the students in the next 4 to 5 years and 10 years beyond. So,
yeah, it's definitely about leaving a legacy because they're going to look back 10 years from now, in 5 years, say, dang, we had a Black student trustee. And that impacts students from young to old. So I think that's super important, leaving that legacy. Talani, what are you most proud of right now?
Most definitely thankful to be alive. That's for sure. Praise to God. As far as organization, 4AW has done things since I've been a part of the board. 2 years ago, I created a scholarship for women of color at that 4AW will give out at their annual women's gala. And I think that's important. 4AW is a space for women to get together, African American women to get together, and to know that there's money put aside for a woman of color. You know what I mean? That's huge. Because a lot of people can't afford their books, or a lot of people can't afford that. Like I said, I had to check my privilege coming here. Thankfully, I was blessed enough to receive scholarships and grants, but there's others that don't have that privilege. And also, just seeing my peers. I knew Anthony from freshman year, and now we're seniors and we're about to graduate. When you come into college, people say you're not going to see the people that you're not going to see the people on your left and your right. But thankfully, through the MORE program, I've made a lot of friends. We're all graduating on time.
Yes.
So thank you, Dr. Solis, for MORE. That was a great program. Yeah.
And Nadia and Dominguez, if you could do briefly, what are you most proud of?
I don't know. I guess I'm just proud to have had the opportunities to do the things that I've done, because I feel like we all have the same opportunities, but taking advantage of them has just humbled me, because I don't know, it's just exposed me to so many different people and environments, and I'm just really grateful for that.
I would say just kind of the things that I have been involved with at UT that I'm very grateful for, I think has led me to this point. I love that I was able to, I don't know, like indirectly kind of be a part of something where I can use my voice to like be a voice for other people who think they may not have one. I never would thought I see myself like on the forefront of like a movement or anything like that. So I'm actually really proud that I've been able to use my voice to help others.
That's incredible. Dominguez and all the panelists have done such an amazing job in the community and at UT. So I'm super proud of all of you. The last thing I want to say is, and to Dominguez's point, I think we had 2 Black cheerleaders recently. So I think that's something towards the right direction. And I want to talk about the Change Makers. It's a new student organization with a mission to educate and engage and educate students about actively creating change in a strategic way, addressing social issues within the nation and our campus. If you are interested in this civil engagement opportunity, please contact Malika Bell. Additionally, the Alphas are having a Know Your Rights event with a judge, officer, attorney sitting on a panel to educate us on our rights as citizens and tips, proper etiquette during police encounters for Alpha Week. This meeting begins at 7 p.m., so right after in a couple minutes until 8:30. And if you would be interested, I'll put the link in the bio. And also, if all the panelists, could you stay on this platform? But to all attendees, thank you so much for letting us voice our opinion. I feel like this was very proactive and productive. And I think we're going to see a lot of change after this call. So thank you so much. And if the panelists can all stay on.